Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Fiber Tech Tips. Today we're going to cover fiber cleaning, one of the most important steps you could take when working with fiber optics, especially when working with fiber optics in the field environment. I want to start with just a few things that you should have on your vehicle at all times or on your work truck at all times. That is a can of ElectroWash spray, a box of QB wipes or QBR wipes. That's the box that has a little piece of tissue here hanging off the side, as well as this canister of fiber optic foam swabs, which you want to make sure that you have capped whenever you're not in use. I've removed one for the sake of being able for you to see what it looks like so you know what I'm talking about. There are different variations of this particular cleaning tool that we have in our warehouse, at least in our Paramount warehouse. We do have some longer ones that are a little bit thinner, that look a little different, but they all serve the same purpose. I also for today have with us a fiber soft drop. Now, everything I'm going to teach you pertains not just to the fiber soft drop, but also to the hard drops used in an aerial or buried application. I also, for the sake of mock-up, have a mock fiber hub port, so you can see the importance of cleaning that, and we'll talk about how you're supposed to clean that using this foam swab. Very important that when working with fiber, every connection and every fiber end is cleaned before placing in use. The reasons being that a dirty fiber or a dirty port can and will disrupt service. It will also cause damage to the infrastructure in place placed by our customer Frontier. But again, more importantly, what it does is it has the potential to disrupt service, creating an unhappy customer, and can lead to repeats in the short term if it's a major issue with cleanliness, but also repeats and lost customers, lost revenue over time as this fiber gets damaged. Now, how does a fiber optic tip get dirty in the first place? As you can see, this one has a dust cap that was placed on it in the factory. It's this clear tip that you can see right there. The port has a dust cap on it as well, which is this white tip that you see here. From the factory, when these tips are placed, these fiber optic drops are not clean before they put these on there. So from the factory, these drops and these ports are already dirty because the assumption is we're going to clean them before we make any sort of connection. When you remove this cap, the instant I remove this cap, I'm exposing this fiber tip to all the dust and particles that are in the air. I'm exposing the fiber tip to potential touching, maybe my hand or my glove, putting oils on the tip, which can block the light. I'm exposing, if I'm not careful, this drop to maybe tapping the side of a wall or tapping up against my hands or my shirt or my tool belt, anything that I'm working with. And that puts dirt and other debris on the tip, as well as has the potential for damaging that tip. And if that tip is damaged, obviously that fiber becomes useless without placing another tip or running a full fiber. So we need to make sure, those are just some of the ways that fiber can become dirty, and we need to make sure that we take all the steps necessary to protect that from happening. The very first step is to keep these dust caps on for as long as possible until we're ready to actually make the connection to eliminate the opportunity for dust particles in the air to get on these tips. This is a laser light shooting through these fiber drops. That laser will over time burn any dust particles that are on the lens of that fiber inside. And when they burn onto the lens, and that blocks the light. Our oils from our skin will block the light. Debris or cotton fibers from our shirt will also block the light. So we want to make sure that, again, we don't cause damage to our infrastructure and that we maintain a happy customer by not degrading their service over time and having them lose service as a result of something that we could have done in the field to prevent that. So let's talk about fiber cleaning. So fiber cleaning, the first thing we're going to talk about is cleaning a port at the hub. Now again, this is a mock-up, but I will go through each individual step. First thing I want to do is I'm going to take my cotton swabs. I'm going to pull the top off of my cotton swab. I'm going to pull the swab out of this carton. Easiest thing is put the swab between your fingers here. And we want to make sure we close this up. We don't want any particles. We want to keep these as clean as possible inside of this tube. We'll set our tube aside. We take our can of ElectroWash. we're going to spray the tip of this fiber swab. We're going to saturate both sides of that tip, set our electrowash aside, and we're going to go to our hub port. When we're at our hub port, holding this in one set of fingers, we're going to pull the cap off, set the cap aside. We're going to, as you can see, there's the port inside there. We're going to insert this swab inside of that port. Looks just like that. And we're going to just make one turn with our fingers. We're not going to screw it in and screw it in and turn and turn and turn. One quick turn. Once we make that quick turn, we make sure we have the cap ready to place back in. We pull the foam swab out, discard that, and we replace our dust cap back on. Now we know we have a clean port that we're plugging into at our hub. Looking at the fiber jumper from our splitter. Again, may or may not have the dust cap on. Hopefully the dust cap is still in place, but if not, that's not a big deal. Now what I've seen in the field from a lot of technicians is they will take their can of electrowash, they'll remove the dust cap, and they will simply spray enough electrowash in here to give this one good nice bath. And they assume that it's clean at that point. The problem with that is as soon as I put all that electrowash spray on there and I saturate that tip, I'm essentially pulling now with that moisture all of the dust particles right to that tip, sort of like a magnet, or any particles that are on there with that liquid on there before that liquid dries. I'm saying, hey, I want you to make sure when you dry, you hold all these particles on here, all this dust and debris on here. So I don't want to saturate this and assume that it's clean. This liquid, this electrowash itself, when it dries, can in fact leave streaks that will also degrade the surface by blocking some of the light coming through the fiber. So please refrain from just spraying the tip of this fiber drop and assuming that it's clean. The process I'm showing you today takes all of 30 seconds, if that, and will guarantee you have a clean fiber versus you creating yourself an issue by overusing this electrowash. So we're going to assume our dust cap is on our fiber here. First thing we want to do is we want to take our box of cubies. We're going to find a clean mat. Now you'll notice, I don't know if you can see, but there's some perforations right here. These perforations, you want to pull these all the way to the edge and you want to stop. You want to fold this over and hold this in place with your fingers on this box. You want to be careful not to touch the surface of this cubie box at this point, because this is a clean sheet, fiber sheet here, and we're going to use it to clean our fiber drop. You want to then make sure that you take the drop and you're going to place that fiber drop in between your two fingers, and you're going to hold that in place. Why? Because we want to make sure we know where this tip is at all times, especially once we remove the dust cap. We want to make sure that we're holding it, we can see it, we're not letting it hit the wall or our tool pouch or our hands or anything else. We know exactly where that drop is located by holding our fingertips. What we're then going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this dust cap, holding this drop in our fingertips, and we're going to take our electrowash spray in our cubie box, and we're going to just spray a little bit at the top corner. As you spray, and it's hard to see on the video, but as you spray, that spray is going to go from a little circle and it's going to expand into a bigger one. If you're left with about a quarter size mark of electrowash fluid on there, you've used enough electrowash. You're going to take the tip of your drop, hold it in your fingers just like this, and you're going to run starting from the wet spot, and you're going to go straight down the box, nice and light. You're not applying a lot of pressure, just nice and light. Once you go from wet, you're going to find a dry spot, same thing, one stroke down. Find another dry spot, one stroke down. Once you've done that, take the fiber drop in your fingertips again and carefully place that dust cap back on. Now we have a clean fiber end we're going to insert into our port at the hub. We have clean going to clean, which ensures maximum light through this fiber, which ensures outstanding service to the customer's O&T. What I've just shown you is the proper way to clean this fiber essentially at the hub. The same methods, the same techniques can be used at the terminal to clean the fiber drop at the terminal before you plug it in there, and to clean the fiber drop at the house at the O&T before you plug that into the O&T. Same thing with this port or this adapter needs to be cleaned at the O&T. You have to ensure that your fiber tips and any fiber connections that are being made are clean before you make those connections to ensure you're not causing a future problem for that customer down the road. This is also important when we arrive at no light situations, in that it's entirely possible that no light situation can be resolved in just a few minutes by taking the time to re-clean these fiber tips and these fiber ports, eliminating any dust that may get in there, however it does, that's stopping some of that light, especially if you have poor light levels. If you have poor light levels, your first step is to clean, clean, clean. And that can avoid you potentially spinning your wheels on a trouble ticket or a service order with bad light because there was just a little bit of dirt, oil, or debris on one end of the fiber or inside of a port. So again, ensure you always have a box of QBR wipes on your truck, a can of Electrowash on your truck, and a tube of these fiber optic foam swabs, which may or may not look like this. They could be taller, but most of the ones we have look just like this, to ensure that you have the ability to always make sure that your fiber optic drops and your fiber ports will always be clean and you'll always be leaving a happy customer. That's it for our fiber tech tips for the day. If you have any questions, reach out to your supervisor and we'll be happy to cover this in person with you. We'll also be emailing out a website that you can go to with an article on the combination cleaning wet, dry, dry, which is what we demonstrated today. You can read through that article for some more tips and some more information on the importance of a clean fiber drop. Thank you and be safe out there.